Boom, we are pre-recorded this morning and we want to dive in and take a look at one of the top charts that we think every trader should be paying attention to. And it's not actually Bitcoin at this particular moment, it's the Fed balance roll-off sheet. So over the next few quarters and continuing, the quantitative easing roll-off period, which is basically the times when the Federal Reserve has to pay back some of their initial budget spending, is coming up in the coming year. So if we dive in and take a look at this screenshot we have, this is the MBS or the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements roll-off period. So as you can see on the 16th of January, 23rd, 30th, the 6th of February, the 13th of February, you have this consistent roll-off which will tighten liquidity. Again, here in the article coming from Zero Hedge, it says, we showed this chart that everyone should have taped to their screen. It's the Nomura's latest recap of the key Fed balance sheet roll-off dates. These are the dates which there is a tangible decline in system liquidity as billions in federal holdings of treasuries and MBS mature. It is the resultant proceeds as the treasury repays the Fed in cold. Hard cash subsequently destroyed by the Federal Reserve, which, as a part of the quantitative easing, is now in the process of shrinking the monetary system currently. So that will bode actually quite well for us in the Bitcoin space. Now, again, we don't expect any of this positive news leading towards us as a strong indicator until we start to leave the bear market. Now, in the terms of a bear market, you're really dependent upon the change in sentiment more so than the change of news. Now, consistent, repetitive, overlapping functions of good news will inevitably change sentiment, but not until we've found that new resting place. Now, again, the strong area of support here is around $2,400. That's a guarantee in my mind. And then the next, again, area followed somewhere between the $1,400 to $800 range down at these lower volume profile fills here. It could actually go even lower to wicks of 700 as we had stated in our last videos. But again, we are looking for the more cumulative area around the $2,400 mark. And then anything below that is what we're going to call extra wins. So we've got a close eye on this space, and now we have a close eye on these dates. I believe as we get closer to December, this consistent roll-off of the liquidity and balance sheets between the Fed is going to do wonderful things for Bitcoin. Again, that doesn't put us in anywhere on an upward trend out until December, way over here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This long-term consolidation between the months of January and December is only another year, and as far as I know, and I stick to this belief and assertion, is that Bitcoin's next price movement is going to be astronomical. So let's just do something fun that we haven't done for a little while. Drag this up to the this is pretty close. This is close enough. The 3618 extension here, which is what we've seen many times happen before, is up in the $70,000 range. I believe once we start to break through some of the key principal areas of support and resistance, again, the first one being $7,400, very easy to see here. The next one after that being around 9,000 to 12,000 as the key levels of support and resistance. Once we break through these major indicators, we're going to see a lot of momentum come in very quickly. These are going to be the leaving the launch pad zones to me that really clarify the direction we're going. Now, Bitcoin could go to zero. It's inevitable that anything in price perception can go to zero because inevitably we can be thrown back to the Stone Age. If we were to have a large solar wind or a large solar flare come out and fry our grid, we would very quickly see our return to a much more, let's say, temporal age of past. It's a little early in the morning here, so I don't want to try to sound like I know what I'm saying, but basically these indicators of price value going to nothing are always in play. It could be a meteorite that does it. We're not entirely sure, but the value of perception is just that. It is only once we leave the mode of survival can we actually start to perceive a value. So Bitcoin in my mind was always a partial, or at least in hopes a full replacement for something like the US dollar reserve system, which is an inflationary system by the nature of it, inevitably robbing and stealing from anyone else that sits under that inflation house. Bitcoin answers that problem by being a deflationary currency. If you lose it, it's gone. There's no replacing it with more Bitcoin. Now, there are the arguments of the derivatives and off-shelf paper trading, which again, I do believe is leading into the negative sentiment of the market now. But when push comes to shove, if you're not holding your Bitcoin private keys, it won't make a difference what paper is not on the market, because those will inevitably fail. This is a very exciting time that we're entering into over the next year or two with the Bitcoin and blockchain space as a whole. As much as I'm a maximalist for Bitcoin replacing the remittance and SWIFT structure systems for large payments between intergovernmental, interbank, interperson, whatever the peer-to-peer sentiment might be, I do believe Bitcoin will move into the store of value space. While there are innumerable ways we can use distributed ledger technology to replace a lot of the old ecosystems and structures as well. Anyways, keep your eyes on all this as we move forward. We will post the link for the Fed balance QT sheet, and we will keep an eye on it, as we believe its instinctive value will more likely be correlated to the stock market at first, but we will keep a close eye on this as we go, and we'll be updating with the stock markets. This is just a little Bitcoin brief update I wanted to throw out there today. If you like this content, give us those thumbs up. If you're new to the Bear family, please subscribe and hit that little bell. That way when we go live, you guys will be notified. Also, if you haven't yet, please join our Telegram channel down in the links below. This is Tio, the Arcane Bear, and I am signing off for the rest of the well, no, I'm not signing off for the rest of the day. Hopefully, we'll be able to produce more content every day and share our thoughts with you as we go. So we're going to be trying out rants and just looking at general news, any of the insights that you guys have been looking at. So we've got another Bear family pick that we're going to take a look at. So we're very grateful for that. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you on the other side.